So hello everyone, my teacher, and this is the Aizan Educators. So Aizan Educators, this is where we are going to bring you the best video tutorials based on education content. So we are going to deal with different units, and part of the unit is Financial Accounting 1. So in this lesson, you are going to deal with Financial Accounting 1. So we are going to deal from chapter 1, that is introduction bit. We're also going to deal with the other chapters up to the last chapter. So I'm going direct to the point in this lesson. So in this lesson, we are going to discuss what is financial accounting. So when you talk about financial accounting, it basically involves 4 areas. That is summarizing, classifying, analyzing, interpreting, and lastly communicating. So when you're talking about summarizing, basically it involves, that is recording of data. Classifying, it involves grouping. After you have recorded, you now group the data. Then after you have grouped, you analyze, that is analyzing. So analyzing is establishing a trend. So a trend can either be a cross-sectional time series or a trend analysis. So lastly, we have communicating. Communicating basically involves preparation of financial statements. So in this unit, you're going to prepare very many financial statements. That is in the part of communicating. So in financial accounting, we have uses of accounting information. So you're going to discuss on uses of accounting information and also their interest in accounting information. So to begin with, these uses of accounting information are broadly classified into 2 broad categories. That is internal users of accounting information and external users of accounting information. So when you're talking about internal users of accounting information, we have the owners, we also have the management, and we also have the employees. So for the external users of accounting information, you have the customers, you have the suppliers and creditors, we also have the investors, the government, the financial institutions, the competitors, the public, and lastly we have the auditors. So when you explain these users of accounting information, you're supposed to state the user of the accounting information and also explain their interest in accounting information. So you are going to explain the internal users of accounting information. So for the internal ones, we have the owners of a business. So the owners of a business are classified into 3. That is the sole proprietor, the partners, and the shareholders. So when you talk about a sole proprietor, this is a business whereby it is run by one personnel. So for the partners, this is where 2 or more partners join together to form a partnership and they run a business as partners. So for the shareholders, for instance, in a company may be selling shares, and when you buy a share, it means that you become a shareholder of that certain company. So these shareholders form part of the owners because they own a certain unit of a business. So what is their interest in accounting information? So their main interest in accounting information is to know the profitability of a business, the returns on capital employed, and also assess the resources in the business. So when you start a business, the core aim of a business is to make a profit. So they have to ensure that their business is progressively making profit. We also have, when they employ capital, they have to know what are the returns of that capital employed. They also have to assess the resources in a business. That forms the owners of a business. So the next user of accounting information in the internal category, you have the management. So basically the management entails the directors and other managers responsible for the operation of a business. These are the people responsible for the day-to-day activities of a business. So what is their interest in accounting information? So their main interest in accounting information is to determine the profitability of a business and also as well as check on stewardship of the resources entrusted on them. As I have said earlier, a business, when you start a business, the core aim is to make profit. So they have to ensure that their profit is progressively making profit. That is the management. We also have the employees. So who are the employees? These are the human assets in a business. So in a business, we will have various categories of assets. We have the current assets or the non-current assets. So the employees form the human assets. So what is their interest in accounting information? So their interest is to assess the performance of a business so as to have the assurance of job security, remuneration, and also have other employment benefits. For example, when you are an employee in a certain business or a company, you have to ensure that their performance, they are performing at a high performance, so that will be assured that that business you are going to maintain it for a longer period of time. So you can't work in a company or a business whereby you have doubt that maybe a certain period of time you'll have to be maybe hired in that business. So you have to ensure that their financial performance is very high, so that your employment, you have the assurance of your job. So that is the internal ones. We have said that they are the owners of a business. We have the management, and lastly we have the employees. So for the external users of accounting, information, we have the customers. So the customers, these are the buyers of business goods and services. So their interest in accounting information is to know how long a business can survive, so as to honor their product warranty. So the next, we have the financial institutions. Basically, these are the providers of financial resources in terms of credit supplies or advancement of loans in a business. For instance, very many business or companies, they work under loans. So these financial institutions, they may include the banks. Next, they are mainly the banks or the circles. So these are the institutions whereby they advance loans to a business. So maybe they can pay after an agreed period of time. So their interest in accounting information is to determine the credit worthiness of a business, so as to make a decision on collateral or security required in respect to the debt account advanced to a business. For instance, when a business borrows a loan of 1 million, the financial institution has to know maybe if they are unable to pay the 1 million, they have to identify a certain security. Maybe if they are unable to pay, they'll have to compensate themselves using that security. So maybe this security may be in form of assets. Maybe a company may be owning maybe cars. So if they are unable to pay the debt, the financial institution has to come and maybe sell that cars, and they compensate the debt which the business owns. So that we have the investors. So basically, these are the providers of additional capital. So their main interest in accounting information is to determine the financial performance, and as well as the position of a business, so as to make a decision on maybe how much to invest, when to invest, and which firm to invest in. So if you are an investor, you have to identify maybe a company or a business that is doing very well, so that you can be able to identify how much to invest. Maybe if a company is dealing with millions of money, it means that you are going to invest more money in that company. So when to invest? So some businesses do very well at certain periods or seasons. So as an investor, you have to ensure that you have to identify the period of time, maybe when a business will be at its peak, and that is when you are going to invest. Lastly, they have to identify which firm to invest in. So as an investor, you have to invest in a firm whereby you are assured that your investment will not go to loss. So you have to invest in a company that is doing very well. So the next one, you have the suppliers and creditors. So basically, the suppliers avail goods of trade in a business. So to a large extent, most suppliers provide goods on credit. So in this case, such creditors are interested in accounting information, so as to ascertain the credit worthiness of a business and make a decision in whether to have a credit limit. So for instance, if you are a supplier and you want to supply some goods on credit, you have to ascertain the credit worthiness of a business. Is this business worthy of giving you back that credit that you have offered unto them? So they have to ensure that their credit worthiness is guaranteed. So the next, you have the competitors. Basically, this include other businesses competing for a common market share. So for instance, very many companies produce bread. So if they are producing bread, it means that these companies are competitors. So what is their interest in accounting information? So their main interest in accounting information is to determine the performance of other firms, so as to develop strategies for gaining a competitive edge. For example, if I'm producing bread and maybe a certain bread is also producing bread, I have to have their maybe accounting information, so that to determine their performance. So if I know their performance, I'm going to maybe if maybe I'm producing a bread, maybe I can use different packaging materials so that I can overtake them in the competition market. So on our next point is the public. So the general public is interested in accounting information so as to assess the performance of a business entity. This also entails the welfare aspects such as the corporate social responsibility, that is the CSR. So the public generally involves the general public. So they have, maybe in a certain company, they have to know the corporate social responsibility. So when a business want to know the accounting information, they have to assess the performance of a business so that they can be able to know, is this company worthy of providing the CSR? So because that is where they will benefit. For example, here in Kenya, we have the Equity Bank. So for the Equity Bank, in the part of corporate social responsibility, they offer the Wings to Fly program as a welfare aspect. So the Wings to Fly program, this is where they sponsor children, maybe those who have come from a maybe background, they are bright, they have done very well in the exam, so they take them, they give them sponsorship, maybe paying their fees so that they can continue with their education, maybe as a part of corporate social responsibility. So we have the second last point, that is the auditors. So basically, auditors, they use accounting information to determine whether the accounting information portrays a true and fair view of the state affairs in a business. So the auditors, maybe they take the accounting information, analyze it so that they can determine, is it really true that the accounting information portrays a true and fair view of the state affairs in a business. So lastly, you have the government. So their main interest in accounting information is to evaluate the file tax returns as well as use the information for national statistics. So when you're talking about national statistics, you know, the government, they have to calculate the national income maybe after per annum. So they have to know the accounting information for each maybe company so that they can be able to come up with maybe the national income gained in a year. For the file tax, when they are evaluating the file tax, they have to know maybe a certain company is making 1 million, another company is making, maybe another business, smaller business, making maybe 200,000. So when they are dealing with the tax, they have to, maybe for that which is earning 1 million, they have to pay maybe a higher tax rate compared to the one which is making a lower profit. So basically, those are the uses of accounting information. So that marks the end of our lesson 1. We have introduced financial accounting, whereby you have talked about what accounting generally entails. We also have talked about the uses of accounting information, whereby we have said that it is broadly categorized into two, that is internal users and external users. We have explained the internal users of accounting information, that is the owners, the management, and the employees. And also you have discussed about the external users of accounting information, that is the customers, suppliers and creditors, investors, the government, financial institutions, competitors, and also the public. So that marks the end of our lesson for today. So we are going to upload more videos in this introduction to financial accounting 1. So I hope this video was beneficial to you. So ensure that you support by subscribing. You can also share, comment, and also hit on the notification bell so that you'll always be notified on our new uploads. Thank you for watching this video tutorial.